Hi everybody, it's Miss Stewart here. I've just come out to my back garden and I'm going to take this opportunity to read you a story. Now, just quickly before I start, I just want to say my own children are inside. They're just having their lunch break from their own home learning, and they might come out and say hello in a minute. I'm not quite sure, but if they do, then you can give them a big wave. So first of all, before I read you the story that I've picked today, I wanted to say to you all, thank you very much for everything you're doing at home. You are making us proud every single day, and I know it's been hard and it feels like a long time since we saw you, but we know that you are all trying your very best to make the most out of this opportunity. We've seen lovely photos of you going for walks with your family, lovely photos of you playing with your big brothers and sisters, and lots and lots and lots of photographs of all of the home learning you've been doing, from science investigations to artwork to stories, to making pizzas, to turning your house into a school. It's been really lovely to see, and although we haven't seen you for a long time, we still feel very connected to you all because we're speaking to you weekly. And I know whenever your teachers speak to you, they always tell Mr. Gray and I how happy it's made them to have that chat with you, and also to hear about what you've been up to. And although it's been hard not seeing you all, I hope that you're all managing to enjoy spending some time with your family as well. So I'm going to read to you today a lovely story from India, and it's called Elephant Dance. Now, India is one of my favourite places in the world, and I always think it's really interesting with stories. Sometimes you can read a story and it can make you think back to really fond and happy memories. And after reading this story last night, went and found my lovely photo album from when I had the amazing opportunity to go to India. And I went actually with Larkrise, because we used to have a school that we were linked with called Depalaya, which was in Kalkaji in Delhi in India. And there's a picture of Miss Stewart just there with Mrs. Camilleri. I think some of our year 6s and year 5s will remember Mrs. Camilleri, and Miss Turnbull, who lots of our year 1s and our year 2s, and in fact all the way up to year 6 will remember. And there's Miss Stewart just here. This is Miss Carr. She was a teacher who left a little while ago. And there are some gorgeous pictures in this book of some of the children and the pupils I met. When I went, actually, I took some photographs of the children who came to Larkrise, and I shared them with them. And they wrote little messages about themselves on the back. And here's a picture of the schools that I visited, and some of the amazing times I had over in Depalaya. So I'm going to look through that later on today because it made me feel really happy. So this story is called Elephant Dance, and it's a story of a family who live here in England, and it's about the grandfather talking to his grandson Ravi all about what India was like. And it makes me think very happy thoughts as well, because I really did fall in love with India when I went to visit. So I'm just going to turn the camera around slightly so that you can see the pictures, and I shall read it to you. So, when grandfather came from India, it was cold. Anjali knitted him a red woolly scarf, and Ravi bought fleecy slippers for his feet. "Is it hot in India, grandfather?" asked Ravi. "Yes, indeed," Ravi grandfather said. "The sun is a most fierce yellow, hotter than 100 cooking fires. At dawn he rolls into the sky like a fiery ball. Then he uncurls and he becomes a ferocious tiger." And I absolutely love this picture because I love the sunshine. In fact, on my back at the moment, the sun feels really lovely and warm. In India, the sun does feel that bit hotter. And here's a picture of what the illustrators tried to capture, the words that the author's written: a tiger inside the sunshine, unfurling as the heat comes down on the people. And he's actually even drawn chili peppers just here to represent how hot it is. And there's the people in the town underneath. There's another lovely picture of the sun there. For dinner, the son eats red chilies. He is so very hot and thirsty, and he growls and roars all day. In the evening, when the stars begin to shine along the Milky Way, he drinks a bowl of coconut milk, and then he falls asleep. And I guess that's when the moon starts to take over and show in the sky. Grandpa's really telling Ravi a story, isn't he, here? Grandfather brought presents for everyone. He brought a blue sari for Mum, a sandalwood box for Dad, silver bangles for Anjali, and a red and gold kite for Ravi. Grandfather and Ravi took the kite to the park. "Grandfather," said Ravi, "what's the wind like over in India?" And here they are. This is obviously where they live. And grandfather's obviously come to visit them from India, and Ravi's got all these questions in his head that he wants answered. "Oh, Ravi. When she blows from the western desert lands, she is strong. She's like a wild horse. She stamps and snorts, she snatches the children's kites and storms away with them beyond the hills and over the ocean. Sometimes the wind is a gentle one, then she pit-pats through the trees, hushing the leaves to sleep. And here's a picture of the lovely wild horse, which is what he's imagining the wind is. Look at the streams and the kites flowing behind, and his grandfather and Ravi putting their hands up in the air, and they're feeling that wind themselves here in England. "And what's the rain like?" asked Ravi as they sheltered under the trees. "Ooh, Ravi, the monsoon rain is like a curtain, silver like Anjali's bangles. It cascades like a waterfall from the sky, making mirrors on the ground below it. Raindrops scurry to and fro like little silverfish. When the sun and rain meet, they make a silver rainbow, stretching." I love how the author's done that, because it looks like it's really stretched out, that word, stretching over the sky. There's a lovely picture of the rain in India, the monsoon rain, somebody running with their umbrella through a big puddle. There's a little goat here on the street in the background watching on. "Is it the same as the rainbows I see here?" said Ravi. "Oh, a rainbow in India, Ravi, is better. It's 7 silk saris hung across the sky to dry." A sari is a beautiful dress that women and girls wear in India. "It's 7 silk saris hung across the sky to dry, red as the watermelon, orange as the lentils, yellow as saffron, green as the parakeet, and blue as the kingfisher. Indigo as the deep ocean, and as violet as the storm sky, before the thunder growls." That's a lovely, lovely, lovely way to imagine a rainbow, with all those beautiful natural colours, lentils, saffron, kingfishers, oceans. Here's a picture of a beautiful rainbow. Now, I know lots of you have been painting rainbows for your windows, and when I drive to Larkwise, when I've been going to work, because we've had some children still coming to school, I've seen all of those beautiful rainbows, and they've warmed my heart a little bit as well. Ravi took grandfather shopping in the market. They brought ghee and ginger, fish and lentils, yogurt and cucumber, and a bamboo flute for Ravi. And here's a picture of Ravi here with his bamboo flute that he's obviously going to play as he goes back. Well, it sounds like some really nice ingredients to make a delicious curry. In fact, one of the things that I've been doing in this lockdown is with my children, we've been learning to cook, because I think everyone in my family would all say I'm not really very good at, nobody's not very good at anything, but I think that cooking isn't one of my strengths, so I've got a growth mindset, and I've been trying to cook lots of lovely things, and I made a delicious vegetable curry the other day, and I used some of these ingredients, yogurt and cucumber, in this story just here. So here we go. "Is there snow in India, grandfather?" said Ravi. "Yes, Ravi, high in the north are the Himalayan mountains. The snow on the top is a giant ice cream, very cold and white, melting on your tongue. It keeps the mountain tops cool when the tiger sun roars at midday." What a lovely description of the mountains. It's somewhere I've always wanted to go. I've not been lucky enough to go to the Himalayan mountains, but maybe one day. But lovely to think about them as being a giant ice cream, and the sun here trying to melt them, but they're so cold at the top it doesn't have any power to do so. It was supper time, and soon the kitchen was full of delicious smells. Mum, Anjali and Ravi cooked dal in a pan with cloves and cardamom. They fried fish and onion and ghee until they were golden, and Dad ground the turmeric, coriander and cumin and mixed them together with the fish and the fresh yogurt. Anjali fetched the rice, and Ravi set the table. Then they all sat down. I hope you've all been having some opportunity to cook with your family. It's a lovely thing to do together. "Grandfather," said Ravi, "are you very old?" "Hush now, Ravi," said Mum, but Grandfather laughed. "Yes, Ravi, as you see, I am old like garden soil, and I'm as wrinkled as a walnut. My teeth are not many, and I cannot chew so well, but I manage with what I have." "Have you ever seen an elephant, Grandfather?" asked Anjali. "Indeed I have," said Grandfather. "When I was a child like you and Ravi, I saw elephants walk in a procession on the feast of Diwali. They wore silk howdahs blue as the royal peacock, and princesses rode on their backs. The hot streets teemed with people, and everywhere there were flowers, garlands of sweet jasmine and morning glory, blossoms cream, red and yellow, which were tucked behind our ears. We ate sticky sweets of coconut and almonds and lit fireworks in the street, and we heard the chimes of bells and gongs and the beating of many drums." It's on a festival day. Here's a picture of the procession of the elephants and the garlands and the people celebrating with their drums. Ravi took out his flute and he blew into it. "This is my elephant dance, Grandfather." Grandfather smiled. "That is a most fine elephant dance. You must practice very much, and maybe one day an elephant will actually dance for you." After supper, Anjali got out her paints and pens, and she and Ravi and Grandfather drew a map. "The shape of India," said Grandfather, "is the ear of an elephant." They drew in tigers and peacocks and crocodiles, elephants, snakes and monkeys, and they coloured in the great river Ganges and the ice cream peaks of the Himalayas. They painted the western deserts, the elephant forests of the east, and the great tiger sun of the south. And here's a beautiful map of India, and where the mountains are, the Himalayas are up here, and in fact you've got Pakistan just here next door. And I'd love to go to Pakistan as well, and Tibet here, and Bangladesh. I know we've got lots of children at Larkrise from all of these different countries around here, all very beautiful. Thailand down here as well. "Grandfather," said Ravi, as he got ready for bed, "do you love me?" Grandfather put his arms around Ravi. "Ravi, you were as warm as a newborn kid, and as soft as the frangipani blossom, as sweet as the juice of the mango, and I love you very much. But now it's time for sleeping." Ravi's bedroom looks very cosy there. Ravi slept, and he dreamed of a deep green forest where moonlight fell in the silver stream, and in the night grass a great grey shape swayed its head and moved its large feet. Ravi raised his flute to his lips, and as he played he saw the elephant dancing in silence. And that's a beautiful end to the story. In fact, there's a piece of music here. If you're very musically minded, you might be able to have a look at that and see if you can work out the tune. But that is one of my favourite stories, because I think the author uses language beautifully to make you paint a picture of what India's like in your head. Now, the other thing that I thought was lovely about that story is about a little boy's relationship with his grandfather. And I know it's really hard at the moment because my children are finding it the same, and I definitely feel the same. We're not allowed to perhaps see our grandparents unless we live with them at the moment. And I thought, looking at this story and having a think about it, that it might be something really nice to do, is to think about your grandparents and think about what their lives would have been before even your mummy or your daddy or your aunties and your uncles were born, and maybe ask some questions of them, and maybe think about some questions. You'd write them down in a book somewhere, and maybe you could have a call with them, or you could ask them to write you a letter or make something back to teach you a little bit about what their lives were like when they were younger, like Ravi has found out from his grandfather, because it's lovely to learn about your family and to find out more information. And it's really hard, isn't it, when you're missing people? But it's a nice way to keep connected and to find out something new about each other. So that's my story for you, and I hope you enjoyed it, and I really, really, really hope that we get to be together soon, but we must only do that when it's safe and we're told it's safe to do so. I know that's not going to be too far away. So you take care, and I miss you lots, and see you soon. Bye.